And we are live. Welcome, family, to another show. It is your man BMT in the building, getting everything situated, man. And we have a response video that we're going to do live today on Abbott and Preach's video they just dropped a few days ago. This video was sent to me by quite a few people. Actually, everybody was sending me this video. They want to get my take on our passport bros are dying and everything. All right, so we're going to get right into the video. Welcome to the show.
With my girl.
The embassy's alert indicated officials do not believe all 8 of the deaths are linked and said they've seen an increase in reports of incidents involving the use of online dating applications to lure victims, typically foreigners, for robbery by force or using sedatives to drug and rob individuals. Often the reports coming from major Colombian cities like Medellin, Cartagena, and Bogota. Murders of foreign visitors went up by 29% in the latter part of 2023 compared to the previous year, according to the embassy, and most of the victims were U.S. citizens.
Okay, I want to stop the video right there. So the beginning of Abbott and Preach's video, they pretty much have a montage of news clips. They're focusing on the man that died last year around this time. Actually, it was around December. Unfortunately, he was murdered out there in Medellin, Colombia. Tirger Zhang. Rest in peace to him. But they're breaking down his story. We're going to get to their response in a moment. And I really want to speak on what their talking points are more so than the crimes that are going on in Medellin. But here we go.
It's a popular destination for Americans who are big contributors to Colombia's tourism industry, making up nearly 30% of foreign travelers in the first half of last year. But behind that beauty, tragedy and unanswered questions for families like Zhang's, a case where no arrests have been announced, according to that local prosecutor. Loved ones are left to mourn from thousands of miles away.
He'll draw everybody in. That's the type of people he is.
You want to say anything about this before we go?
No, but I'm not really surprised about that. I know you're gonna say that. Oh, you're never surprised, but it's really something that I like that I see when I travel. I see a lot of people want to do that. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is they wanna indulge in the local delicacies. Problem with that is that there's a lot of honey traps. From when I used to just go travel as a tourist in resorts, you go to a bar and then there's a lady waiting there, blah blah, giving you attention and stuff like that, and then you're met with other people that want you to pay XYZ.
Now, I want to stop it right there for a moment. What he's saying isn't necessarily wrong, but it's unfortunate that you will get typecasted with that stereotype if you are a single man traveling in specifically Colombia or Brazil. In a lot of cases, some of these guys that have been victims of crimes are really trying to genuinely in this country, meaning that they don't go out necessarily looking for women of the ladies of the night or anything like that. They're just dating. And in this particular case, to try to associate Zhang's murder, which happened with him dating a woman for months at a time, and kind of associate that right after playing that video, kind of pretty much puts him in a position, not him in a position, but it kind of is like saying that he was out there doing the wrong thing, when in actuality, he was the victim of a heinous crime. All right. I don't think that he was out there trying to do anything illicit or any illegal activities. I think he was dating. And that's the difference that a lot of guys do not understand with this. These are criminals. These aren't necessarily women that work the streets. The women that work the streets are going to make their money in the street, meaning the same girls you see in some of these areas or something, they're going to be out there every other night. They don't want to really mess up their bag or mess up their money. These women are put out there by criminal gangs to actually seduce these men into thinking that, hey, you know, I'm just dating right now. Let's go out on a date. I want to meet you and all of this. And then they'll drug you and then they'll rob you. Now, this was different. His particular case was different because they actually kidnapped him and was asking for his relatives to send him more money. So that was the difference in this case right here. But I just want to separate that for a minute, because just to kind of associate, for Abbott to associate that with a crime happening to an American tourist, then just kind of say, well, maybe he was out there, or potentially he was out there looking for the wrong thing. That's wrong in itself. I just want to put that out there.
And that's just the escalation of that. You know what I mean? I saw a video of a guy that travels the world, right? And he's just filming this like, I think, yeah, he's just filming in front of him. And then this lady that's passing in front of him and touches him. He's in Colombia. She touches him and he turns around. Why she does that? For him to follow her. And there's someone following him, right? And they're gonna go to the alley, and then that person's gonna pop up and then rob him of everything he has. There's a lot of those things that's happening there. You have to be very careful whenever you travel. You indulging or people having like giving you attention really quickly like that.
That is a red flag. Like I said, there were some good points in this video. That's truly a red flag you should be aware of. But in some points were kind of taken out of context to a certain degree too. But we'll talk about this during the video.
It's a red flag, and you have to be cognizant of the thing, and beyond. You have to understand that you're not in your not in your house, you're not in your place, you're not in your country, and there's gonna be people that are gonna prey on tourists like that. That's not something that is surprising. Something that's been going on in certain countries, Latin countries, not especially, but I mean it's a thing. It's not just Colombia; it's a lot of them. What? No, go ahead.
No, let's finish.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I'm not really surprised of that. If you travel a bit, you hear these stories. You encounter a group of a bachelor party or whatever, and they always have stories about that, about things could have gone sour or shit. Yo, it was crazy last night. We almost died. I've heard a lot of people say stories like that.
Hey, Nelson, you're a passport bro. You don't like Western women? That's fair. You know what I mean? You go to these places, you feel like a baller with your middle class salary. I mean, there's a reason why these poor countries exist. And there's a reason why these poor people trying to move on up. And there's a reason why these poor girls who are very attractive are interested in you. And it's not because you cute.
No.
Okay? So, this is the thing. You traded one set of problems for a different one. And everyone got to pick the problems that they want to deal with.
Now, he has a point. He definitely has a point. You are going into another man's matrix. There are going to be some issues in every country you go to. There's going to be different issues. Now, in concerns of crime, the crime level is pretty high. Okay, you can get robbed easily in Latin America, in any Latin American country, just like you can get robbed in the States. But if you're an American and they can kind of peep that you're an American and be walking a certain way in a certain time of night and you dress differently or something like that, you don't speak the native language or something, yeah, you'll be an easy target for people. All right.
If you don't want to deal with the Western problems, then you got to deal with the fact that when you go to these places, a lot of these people just see you as a paycheck. Mm-hmm. A lot of these people just see you as a way out of poverty. And some of these people don't have good intentions. And so knowing that, you just got to accept it. That's it. That's what it comes down to. It's like me when I choose my cell phone provider. I mean, they all kind of trash. You got to pick the trash you like. Okay?
You got to pick trash you like.
That's it. You just know you're getting fucked, so you got to pick something. All right? Nothing is perfect. Everyone's going to have to settle. We all can't get what we want in life. That's okay. We all got to pick.
Okay, he just went going for a sponsorship, but that was some good points that he said right there. All right, so they went back to some more news clips. Okay, we'll cover that.
Tourists about using dating apps in that country. The embassy says 8 Americans have died under suspicious circumstances in Medellin, Colombia, from November through December.
That is a lot. That's 8 deaths in 1 month.
A. Zhang says while his brother did not meet a woman online, he's urging people to stay aware and hopes these now public arrests stop other families from going through this pain.
I just don't like when people talk about it like, I'm going to be a passport bro, and you think everything's going to be smooth and easy. No. Immigration is complicated. Going over there, dealing with somebody from a complete foreign culture, that's complicated. You may not realize it, but you and your Western mindset, you are actually not ready for their cultural experience.
Now, he's saying some truth in that to a certain degree. This is why it's important that we do have these online communities where you can get information. All right. When guys start doing, expats start doing consultations, for some odd reason, there was a, hoopla or a lot of people saying, oh, I'll need a consultation, this, that, and the other, which is kind of crazy because if you're plan on spending large amounts of time in another country, the thing you can do be in your best interest and could possibly save you tons of money and your life is probably having a consultation from someone. If you don't have a friend out there, would be to book a consultation or be a part of these online communities, be a part of the Passport Bro community app, or it could be a part of one of the Facebook groups. We have a lot of information because that does make a major difference. It makes a tremendous amount of difference, actually, if you're well aware of certain things that happen in these countries overseas. It makes a big difference, especially in Latin America, where there's a harsh learning curve. All right. Not only are you dealing with a language barrier, but in some cases, you're going to be dealing with safety issues per se. All right. So you want to know exactly, where to live at, what neighborhoods to stay in. We've had incidents, to be honest with you, within our Passport Bro community of people dying. Now, are they dying in a mass? Most cases, it's going to be guys getting drugged and robbed. All right. Those are most of the incidents and concerns of guys, having crimes committed against them. But there are some incidents where guys have unfortunately lost their lives. We know the brother that lost his life down in Brazil. Now, the question is, are these guys specifically Passport Bros? Or are these guys just happen to be male traveler? Is every male traveler a Passport Bro? And the answer is no, because the Passport Bros believe in a certain ideology. All right. We believe in a certain ideology. And one of those things within the ideology is informing yourself, all right, of some of the local issues of the city that you want to visit. You have to be informed. And that's one of the key pillars of being a Passport Bro, is staying informed. Because there is, there's a large learning curve, especially if you're going to spend large amounts of time in these countries overseas. All right, let's continue.
You're not. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you act, a lot of them not going to rock with you. That's why a lot of these guys go over there and they stick out like a sore thumb. Right? They walk around. Why do you think they always get targeted? Because it's very obvious that they don't fit in. So it's one of them ones where it's just like, yeah, you feel for these people. And I think in this guy's situation, he came out of a rough divorce maybe like 2-3 years prior. So obviously he's trying to find love. He's trying to find his way in his late 40s. And here he is before probably one of the most beautiful women he's ever seen. And she's head over heels for him. It's very easy to see how these guys fall for this shit. But let's not front. These guys go to this place for sex tourism.
False. All right. And this is very dangerous. I hate when people do this. All right. You always got to associate the Passport Bros with sex tourism. All right. Sex tourism been going on for a very long time before the Passport Bros even became a thing or a name. That has been going on. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you guys, as far as I know, and I can talk to other friends, when I go to Colombia and I'm in the immigration line, I really don't even see a lot of single male tourists like that. All right. I really don't. I see a bunch of families, couples. I mean, a lot of people visit Medellin. Okay. So just to kind of associate with that if you are a victim of a crime and the reason you're out there is because of ex-tourism, no. All right. That's very dangerous. And I'm kind of tired of people doing that. We got to kind of separate ourselves from that because they've been doing that for years. In the last couple of years, we kind of cleaned that up because that wasn't the truth. But just trying to associate that. Now, are there guys that go overseas, go to these countries and party and do what they want to do on vacation? Yeah, of course. All right. It's legal. People participate in the legal activities, whatever they are. All right. Men do that. Women do that too. All right. But just to always kind of try to word associate Passport Bros with ex-tourism, that's kind of dangerous. All right. And being disingenuous, by the way.
They go over there with their money because they know they probably can get laid. So it's not like they go in there with good intentions.
For cheap.
So you go over there with not the greatest intentions, finding bad outcomes. Yeah. I go to these places. I've been to these countries. It's not a horrible experience if you're not over there looking for the wrong things. If you're not over there trying to be involved with the wrong things. If you're not advertising the wrong things.
Let me make this blatantly clear for guys like this. All right. Maybe they travel, maybe they don't. Okay. The women that are actively in the streets doing what they're doing, or however they're hustling to make their money, aren't necessarily the ones that are doing the drugging and the killing. It's actually criminal activity. These are actual criminal gangs that set people up, that have hackers on deck, police on payroll. These are whole entire organizations. All right. It goes way deeper than some random guy hooking up with some chick and she drugging them and everything like that. Because like I said before, those women want to make their money. All right. So these are just crimes being committed at the end of the day. Yeah, some guys go out there with, negative intentions, bad intentions. It is what it is, but that's not every guy. All right. And that's damn sure not necessarily a passport bro thing. I don't know why they keep trying to word associate the passport bro thing. There's a lot of guys that consider themselves to be passport bros are genuinely looking for a relationship because they're tired of the dating matrix in the West. That's really what it is. Okay. And you have a lot of guys that are married to Colombian women, Dominican women, Brazilian women, Thai women. Okay. It is what it is. Let's continue.
You'll generally be okay. But a lot of people don't have that wherewithal, or they do go over there for the sex, and then they're surprised when they're in the underbelly of the underworld. Like, who do you think is helping these women to prostitute themselves? It ain't cops. It ain't the legal people.
Sometimes it is.
They're not actually legal people.
Fair. Sorry.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
No, don't apologize. See, I don't know which one is preaching, which one's Abba. But the brother, he was right. Sometimes it is the police, y'all. Let's just be honest. All right. So you absolutely right. Yeah, it goes deep. It goes deep. I had a friend of mine that, he pretty much got robbed by the police. All right. So that's what it is out there. It's not always a blame. That's the thing. That's why it's so difficult, because it's always this little blame game of dudes having crimes committed against them. And then all of a sudden, well, he had to be doing something wrong. Oh, he was out there for illicit activities. And that's real dangerous to put that on that, because if you put that on every single male traveler, then that means that the police don't have to do anything, because, oh, well, he probably was doing the wrong thing, so we don't have to investigate. Don't worry about it. He was out there, even though he was set up by a female that he was dating for 3-4 months, or that he had known for a while, he just got set up and, oh, well, he was soliciting for girls. He was looking for girls in the street. That's why he got robbed, so we don't have to investigate or anything. Don't worry about it. Shout out to Passport Bros Business Class $1.99 cent super chat. I really appreciate that. It says, I only travel to totalitarian countries, controlled countries. I got you, bro. I got you. All right. Which one is ABBA, by the way? I don't even know which one is ABBA.
You're dealing with dangerous elements.
Yeah.
So knowing all this, it's like, I hear about this passport, bro. And listen, everybody should go find their love however they got to do it. You want to go back to your native country, figure that shit out. Good for you, boss. But everyone who makes it sound like the grass is greener, they lying.
That's false. Come on. See, is this guy preach? Okay, tank top is ABBA. Okay, ABBA. Bro, I can tell you right now, most passport bros do not want to return to America. If they do return to America, it's for a brief visit. Okay, being a passport bro is great. I'll be honest with you. It's great. In cases, is the grass greener on the other side? Hell yeah, it really is. No matter what country you decide to go to. Most guys that are overseas are genuinely happy for the most part. All right, they're happy. So are some guys, making dreams and putting out content that's not, true to a certain degree? Yeah, but that happens in every single industry. All right, guys have to pretty much boost certain things up in order to get the clicks and the views. We see that all the time. So will guys hire certain models to be in their videos? Yeah, whatever, they will. But for the most part, if you ask any guy that lives overseas, is it better in America or an overseas country, whether it be Brazil, and going through the issues overseas, especially when he's getting that American dollar? I guarantee he's going to rather be overseas right now at this moment. I guarantee, because it just makes sense. It just makes sense, because one of the key pillars of being a passport bro is leveraging your American dollar. Anytime you can flip your dollar 10 times over, 5 times over, you go from spending $2,000 a month on an apartment to $200 a month on an apartment. All right. You go to having way more dating options than you have in the traditional states, where it's hookup culture everywhere, right? Where you can date somebody and find a wife to build your legacy, who's not trying to destroy you and not raise your kids, who's not trying to use the legal system. Yeah, it's going to be better in a lot of these countries for Americans per se.
Everybody's selling everybody a pipe dream. Oh, it's going to be, I'm not even tell you over here it's going to necessarily be better. I'm not telling you which one is the answer. I'm just saying be honest about what it's like to actually go out there and find somebody. I hear all the time people, oh, I brought this girl back and then she moved here. She hated it. Why? Because the weather in North America is nothing like her perfect country.
Now, most guys that consider themselves passport bros, and they always got to get this confused. And that's how that I know they haven't done a lot of research on this so-called movement. Most guys consider passport bros aren't bringing women back to America, bro. That wouldn't make any sense. We already know that's a no-no for the most part. For the most part. Now, you can, it's your option to do that. But for the most part, most guys don't want to do it. Most passport bros are comfortable living overseas. That's part of being a passport bro for the most part.
Right? The culture over here is nothing like her country. All of a sudden, she's now in the Western world living with you, and she's in an environment where people don't talk to their neighbors. She's in an environment where people are no longer in this kind of communal aspect like she had back in her hometown, right? So understand, importing someone from a complete foreign culture is not easy. It's not seamless. And for a lot of people, it does dissolve the whole experience. So I know there's so much you can say about trying to find somebody overseas with a whole different cultural background, different racial background, different geographical background. Like, understand you're taking on a lot. But all I hear these guys talk about is like they have traditional values. They're submissive. A lot of folks are in for a rude awakening in my experience.
That's like a yes and a no to a certain degree. All right. In some of these countries, are the women traditional? Yeah, a lot of them are, to be honest with you. It's because of the culture makes them that way. They're just being themselves for the most part. They're just seeing what's been done for years and they're just doing it over again. All right. It's pretty traditional in our eyes. It's going to be traditional because the women are cooking and cleaning, taking care of the home. They might even be working in some cases. Yeah, that's traditional. All right. That's traditional. Submissiveness, I mean, there's a different term for that. And submissiveness, some women don't mind being openly saying, hey, I'm submissive to my husband. Some women might have somewhat of a problem with it, even overseas to a certain degree. It all depends on who you select. You know, it all depends on who you select. If you go to Brazil right now, I can honestly say that a lot of the women in Brazil that I've experienced, at least in Rio, they own some Western stuff for the most part. You know, they're a little bit more liberal with the hooking up. You know, you can go out and have a good time, but to say, hey, she's a Brazilian, she's going to submit to you. I've never said that in my videos. Is she more traditional? Maybe, maybe not. I still think you have a better chance with that overseas if that's what you're looking for, depending on what country you decide to go to and what type of woman you want to date and look into a marriage with.
And they just turn out to be tricks. But what do you want to say?
I think they want to fuck for cheap. Even if it's not just fucking, it's a relationship. They want to have a relationship for cheap.
Does that make any sense whatsoever? How much should you have to pay for a relationship? I'm just curious. How much you supposed to pay? Is there a certain budget you have to have a relationship?
It's like they don't want to deal with the hassle. It's like if they want to cut corners.
What? What is this guy's preach, right? What is he talking about? Cut corners where?
They want to cut corners in the relationship or finding someone and stuff. So they go elsewhere. Oh, I'm gonna look like a big ass baller, so she's gonna depend on me. There's something weird about that.
What is weird about that? What's weird about that? It's nothing wrong with a woman depending on you. Women have been dependent on men since the dawn of time. There's nothing wrong. That's very natural. That's very natural for a woman to depend on her man. That's natural, man. Okay.
So what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't think it's weird. Imagine you live in New York and then you move out to Ohio with your same salary and you feel much better because you can afford a bigger home. Is that weird? No. You're maximizing the return on your investment. You're taking what you got and you're going to a place where you can get a better return on investment.
Now, he just mentioned one of the ideologies of being a passport bro. I just mentioned it earlier. He just said it. That's what being a passport bro is.
I know people who work remotely.
I don't have a problem when it's material. When it's a person, I can afford a person. We're talking about a whole ass relationship. That's what I have an issue with. Like,
how would you have an issue with that? You should be able to afford a relationship. What is he talking about? What is he talking about right now? Why would you have an issue with that?
When you want to have a good run for your money, when it's material, I don't have a problem with it. But when it's like a relationship and a person, I'm like,
Why is that bad?
not as bad. I feel a certain way about it. And I haven't put like my finger on it.
Fair.
What? So basically, what he's saying, I'm assuming what he's saying is, if I'm dating a woman overseas, and let's just say she happens to be a lawyer or something, but because of the exchange rate, I make much more money than her, then I shouldn't be with her because I make more money than her? Is that what he's trying to say? Is he saying that it's unfair that the men coming from the West make more money than the woman that they're dating? Because somebody explain this to me, how this makes any form of sense. Men in general make more money than women in general, just all over the world. Even in America, even plumbers and HVAC guys make tons of money. Truck drivers make tons of money in most cases. So what is he talking about? And a lot of times when you're dating a woman, she doesn't make as much money as you. So are you saying that we have to find a woman that makes the exact same amount as us for a balanced relationship?
You know what I mean? I don't want to do all that stuff. Let me just.
I mean, if you're gonna do sex workers, then I mean, I guess go overseas. But like I said, the people who do that kind of work over there are not the best people.
You do realize you can get so-called ex-workers in the States, right? In every major city in the United States, even the Latinos, the Venezuelans and everything now, the Colombians, whatever, the Dominicans. I mean, they're in the States, brother. Like, you do realize that it's so much more than what they're trying to broadcast it out to be. And they really don't really know. They just know that Passport Bros is a very popular hashtag term right now, but they haven't really dived into the ideology of an actual passport bro. Once again, I always say that we are a victim of the name's popularity.
So just understand, to them, you're just a big old paycheck that can change their lives.
Let me tell you guys something. For all my men over 35, all right, I don't care how you look, I don't care how tall you are, a lot of women around the world, surprise, want you based on conditions. That's what it is. Surprise, you're an adult, you're a man. Don't nobody give a damn about your curly hair. Don't nobody give a damn really about how tall you are. That helps in the club and everything. On the surface level, yeah, it might get you laid a little easier. But for the most part, love comes with conditions for a man. That little high school love you had, that little college sweetheart you had, shit changes when you get a certain age, bro. Really after 25. But I'm going to just tell you right now, for men over 35, your love comes with conditions. Surprise, all right? The whole love and basketball shit, that was when you young, bro. That's when you young. You got to have your shit together, more so than the woman for the most part. The woman and children, they get unconditional love. That's the part about being a man. That's what it is.
So they going to go for it.
Some of the best actors.
That's it. That's it. Like I said, you go over there, you take your extra money that's worth so much more, you want to go use it over there, fantastic. Understand, criminality gonna be through the fucking roof. People trying to scam you through the fucking roof.
Atlanta, scamming through the roof. All right?
All these problems come with the fact that now your dollar is worth 20. Guess what? Your security is probably also 10 times the bill that you would have to pay over there.
Not necessarily. It really depends on the way you move. I don't think you got to get a security guard or anything like that. You might want to get a doorman for the most part, but you don't have to actively pay for security. You just got to move a certain way. All right. You got to, in certain neighborhoods, you shouldn't necessarily walk around at night like that. It's really basic. If you take the mentality you had growing up in an inner city or, bad areas, and you take that same mentality overseas, then the same rules apply to a certain degree.
All the things that you got to stress about in terms of safety, 10 times the thing. So everything got a price, everything got to pay off. That's why people ask me, like, Abu, do you want to run back to Ethiopia and live the rest of your life there? Like, sure, if I took my salary, I'd live in a mansion with guards and maids and everything. And maybe that sounds appealing to y'all. Me personally, it's not, but I can understand why people like that. I just don't want to deal with the fact that at any point, some of these countries can just turn upside down because they have a civil conflict in their place. Government can change. They can have authoritarian rule. They can shut down a lot of the social medias. They can come for you if they don't like the things that you say, and they can put you in jail. That's not an experience I have to worry about when I'm here, at least not to the same degree.
Actually, so most guys in these overseas countries are not necessarily, especially passport bros, we're not really getting and diving into the local politics for the most part. Like, we're not going to be out there standing and marching, with picket signs with the locals on, policies and stuff going with their government. I mean, we're not having to deal with that. We get our resources from America for the most part. So we don't have to deal with necessarily the BS that goes on in America or in the countries overseas. So we kind of in a state of peace for the most part. We're not dealing with that now. What happens? Ethiopian, he's saying something totally different. Yeah, I don't really know about what goes on out there for the most part. I'm not familiar, but he's talking about something different that most passport bros don't have to really worry about.
So I guess I am trading safety and freedoms for the fact that, economically speaking, I probably have a better time over there.
I've been set up twice in my life in Atlanta, actually. I have not been set up overseas. I've been overseas for about 5 years. I've been set up twice in Atlanta. One time in Lithonia, Georgia, and one time in Southwest Atlanta. All right. Oh,
Familiar for the family of 50.
Guess what? Your security is probably with guards and they can come for you if they don't like it. Do all this stuff, do the drugs, see who random. Okay, you rolling the dice. So that's all I'll say on that.
And it's interesting. I'm gonna pull up the stats in a moment, but I know last year it was a tourist that died, and me and my friend, the DJ out there, popular DJ, we knew the hotel. We saw the hotel that was actually, on the screen of the video or the bloggers, whatever it was, right? So we went to that hotel, and my DJ friend who speaks fluent Spanish, he was asking what happened, and it turns out that the guy overdosed on the white powder basically. So in some cases you have drug related incidents too, where guys, they come down, they've been hitting whatever they've been hitting the raw in the States, and they come down and get the Colombian pure, and they might have a heart attack or something like that. Okay, so you have that too.
But yeah, passport bros.
That's an actual term.
Yeah, it's like a whole movement. It's a whole movement. But I mean, listen, if you don't feel like you fit in this part of the world and you're not finding the kind of women that are for you, maybe you need to be gone. In my experience, there's such a diversity of people around here in North America.
Maybe be gone in another country.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's such a diversity of people here. If I wanted something traditional, find it. But I get it. I get it. I get it. People are they're looking for their place in the world. That's what it feels like.
Do y'all think that we're looking for our place in the world? You think that's what it is, that we don't fit into American society? I mean, we just spoke earlier on how you flipping your money almost 10 times over sometimes, even with the so-called gringo tax that I have to personally pay here in DR, because it's pretty much everywhere. I mean, they're not Dominican unless they can get over on you, bro. So, you're going to have to pay certain things for gringo taxes. Anything dealing with clinics or hospitals, they're going to pretty much double the price on you. But if you think about it, and I told my girl this, I said, because she always gets upset about it. I'm like, well, listen, if I was in the States, that would have been 10 times more. So yeah, they got over. Good for them. Nothing I really can do about it. I'm American. I don't speak super fluent Spanish. Even if I did, they would clearly see I'm American. I got to pay a gringo tax. It is what it is. But in some cases, it's much cheaper than what I would have to pay in the States. All right. Now, before I get to super chats, I want to show something real quick. I want to pull this up. I want to pull something up just to give you guys some perspective. Now, here we have 29 tourist deaths trigger alarm bells in Medellin. In 2024, that's been death every 6 days in the Colombian city, compared to once every 10 days in 2023. At least half of those killed have been Americans. All right. So 29 tourist deaths. Okay. 29. Now, that's not saying that all these guys were men or necessarily passport bros or anything like that, but there have been 29 tourist deaths. All right. So let's put this in perspective. Now, here's a chart right here. Let me see if you guys can see that. Let me remove this real quick. Okay. So we got 1.4 million visitors in Medellin. And you got 29 tourist deaths. As you guys can see, I will remove that ticker right there. But as you guys can see, this is supposed to be like a 0% right here. You can't even see, it doesn't even marker on the chart. All right. That's how low it is. This is supposed to be like a little bar right here, but you can't see it because it's so low. Percentage rise, it's like 0.002%, something like that. I mean, it's less than 1%. That's very small. Just to give you guys a little perspective. Okay. That's not to say that Medellin is necessarily dangerous for tourists. I'm just giving you a perspective overall for the most part. 29 tourist deaths. You actually had more tourist deaths in Texas, all right, than you had in Medellin, Colombia. All right. So just to give you guys a little perspective on that. Not to say it's not dangerous. Now, in concerns of robberies and druggings, that possibly could be pretty high. That could be pretty high. Okay. That can be pretty high. Let me catch these super chats real quick for the fam. Let me see. I got one right here. Azrael, first of his name. Appreciate the super chat with the $5 super chat, man. Really appreciate that. He says, I felt safer in Prague than in Brooklyn, where I live, and I only saw 6 to 7 black people. Same with Asia. I have no desire to return or raise a family in America. I totally 100% agree. I think about that sometimes. And I say to myself, I said, man, there's no way I would ever get married or raise a family in America. It's just too much. Not only is the food bad, but it's just too much. It's just too much for a family to have to deal with in America for the most part. When you can kind of go overseas to wherever country you want to go to, Eastern Europe, Asia, where it's pretty safe, cheaper, laid back, and you can really have the time to be able to spend with your family. It's not such the rat race you got to deal with. You don't have time to spend with your family like that. All right. And there's something about raising children overseas and them being cultured and learn a different language. There's just so many positives with that. Now, I will have my children have American citizenship and go back and forth from the States to whatever country we decided to raise a family in. I will say that. But I think it's just more beneficial, especially for children, for black children. I think it's more beneficial to raise them outside of America if you can afford it. If you can afford it to. Mr. Travolta with the 250. I forgot what currency that is, so apologies on that, brother. But I think that's like around $20 US. I appreciate that. These guys are talking like they have never traveled before, operating in fear. The West isn't necessarily the best place to live. It makes sense to earn money from the West, but live abroad, which is very true. All right. That is very true, family. All right. All right, guys. So we in here, man. Yeah, Atlanta is home to the scammers. You want me to talk about that setup in Atlanta? All right. I was going to end the show, man, but I'll do that real quick. Okay. The first time I was set up, which was the first time? Yeah, because the first time I was in my 20s. I was off. It was in a bad neighborhood. It was a real bad neighborhood, actually. Probably one of the worst neighborhoods in Atlanta when I think about it. What was that off? A Deal Avenue or something? What was the name of that? I don't even remember the streets no more in Atlanta. What was the name of that street? Damn it. I forgot the name of the damn street. But anyways, I was at a gas station and saw a little red bone. You know how that goes. Saw a little red bone in the gas station in the hood. Yada, yada, yada. Went back to a crib. We messing around and everything. And I believe I heard something because I'm already highly paranoid. I know where I'm at. So I believe I heard something. I think I heard something. Like I heard something while we was in the bedroom, like something that was going around. And I immediately, hopped up, because she was on top of me. And I was like, oh, hell no. Nah. I hopped up, grabbed my Glock 40 and went out. And it was like 6 guys like standing outside about to come in. They was about to come in the door. And I just, went out the door and pulled my gun on them and pointed at them and walked backwards to the car, got in the car and left. That was the first time. The second time I was in Latonia and a girl from Chicago that I have been messing with for like a couple of months, actually, probably be about 2 months. She was mad that she got caught messing around with me with her boyfriend. So I guess she was pissed or something because I had left something in her apartment. So she was pissed. and she tried to set me up. She tried to set me up, man. I can't really get into the details of that, but I was in my car and she was trying to distract me while the other person was going to do whatever they was going to do. I don't know what they were trying to do, but make a long story short, I got up out of there too. All right, so those are the 2 times I've been set up in Atlanta. Okay. Shout out to my man Jay Clyde in the building. Yeah, you actually had more tourist deaths in Texas than you had in Columbia. People should stop thinking of, oh, hey, Jay Clyde makes a good point. People should stop thinking that all 29 of those deaths were murders. Those numbers include natural deaths and accidents too. So even the media plays like word games with the titles. I should have mentioned that earlier, but Jay Clyde is absolutely right. I know a few guys that fell off a balcony. I think one brother fell off the balcony or something at a party. Like I said before, and I'm not associating with the brother that died off the balcony or anything like that, but I do know that from investigating a person that, was so-called killed in Medellin, that he overdosed on, the white stuff. So maybe some of that is dealing with drugs and alcohol as well. Okay. But we put the scale up, as you guys can see, relatively low. Are Passports Bros technically dying? No, they're not, because you can't even consider these guys being necessarily Passport Bros. We spoke on this show every time an incident happens. We always speak about it on this show. All right, I always put it out there. I'm not a content creator that try to make the grass so much more greener. I tell you the real. I'm very transparent in some of what I do. So I always try to tell you guys that, hey, a lot of times you have to move a certain way, especially in almost every Latin American country. You can get it in every Latin American country. You just got to move a certain way. All right. Trey Poppy says, my homeboy got set up at some apartments off of Riverdale Road, took his system out of his Cadillac. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, Atlanta always been like that. Atlanta always been setting up. I know dudes have been getting drugged by the strippers. Strippers be drugging dudes out there. They've been doing that since the 90s, really. They've been drugging dudes and, going through their house, stealing stuff like that. Atlanta's like a set-up city, really. It's all about the finesse in Atlanta. He said, BMT, you know what's funny, man? Like, I'm not a street cat. I'm not even a hood dude, to be honest with you. I just had family in that particular neighborhood. That's why I was there. I was visiting family. And, we all got them family members that live in the hood. Yeah, I just saw a little red chick. I'm trying to believe what kind of car I had. I might have been, because I was flipping cars at the time, so I might have been like in a little old school or something like that. So she probably thought I was a dope boy or something. And yeah, they was about to come in that thing and rob me, basically. And I heard it. And they was scared. They was scared, bro. I was about to shoot him. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was about to shoot him, man. I ain't gonna hold you. Shout out to my man Rolling Travels in the building. Is it it's not a foreign culture if your family is from there? I don't understand that. Otoko too. I don't understand what you mean by that, brother. All right. Jay Clyde. Ninjas don't understand probabilities and mathematics. Yeah. Okay. So in closing, we can honestly say that in Medellin, because they're talking about Medellin right now for the most part, Apple and Preach. Yeah, you can definitely get drugged and robbed. I mean, that in most cases is what happens. Unfortunately, guys get drugged and they have a way out there. They got the hackers on deck to go through all your bank accounts. I did a show on that last week. They go all through your bank accounts, take all your money. And I think that some of this stuff can be avoided. I don't know why guys necessarily, because most of the guys getting drugged and robbed, some of them guys are, have lived there, but some of them are kind of vacationing. I don't even know why you would have like all your cards on you in an environment like that in the first place. I wouldn't even have all. I would have like maybe one bank card. It's just a certain way you got to move out there, especially if you participate in late night activities. You definitely got to move a certain way, man. That's just the brass tacks of it. Mushi T makes a good point. He says there's something called adaptation. Women overseas think different, but most change once they enter the matrix unless they just have solid background. They have a solid background. You know what? That's kind of a risk you're going to take, man. It depends on your social circle. I remember what John Jones was saying, that his Japanese ex-wife got influenced by his mother, basically, and the women that were around his family members. Basically, the women in his family influenced his Japanese wife to stop fixing him sandwiches and stop basically being submissive to him. So, to me, that's on John Jones. To me, maybe he shouldn't have did that. Maybe he shouldn't have really brought her around. But how do you not bring your wife around your own family, right? But that's something you got to look out for. You might have been better off staying in Japan, staying in Asia. You might have been better off. You get older, man. You get older. I mean, relatives are just going to be relatives. You see them when you see them type of shit. You don't necessarily got to be kicking it all day and all along and introduce your wife and everything. You don't got to necessarily do all that. That was your choice. That's your choice. But it depends. I know guys that have been married happily that took their Brazilian wife back to the States, Dominican wife to the States, and haven't had any issues. But I also know guys that, like out there in Houston with their Thai wives left them in like less than a year. So it all depends. You never know. You just never know because women switch it up on you. So it's not necessarily that you made a bad decision. It's just that she might have found a better option, or she might be comfortable, or it might have been her plan the whole time. That's the risk you take. Women are a risky investment anywhere you go in the world. Surprise. All right. The thing is, in this world, nobody gets a free pass. Everybody suffers. Everybody gets heartache. Everybody goes through trials and tribulations. In my opinion, if you really look at it, women have the benefit of having access to casual sex, right? They have the benefit. They can walk outside and sleep with as many men as they want to, okay? All right. That definitely lowers their value, but they can't do that if they want to, because women are born on a mountain. It's their job to stay on that mountain. Men are born in the valley. It's our job to climb that valley. So when we have access to sex, more than likely, unless we just super good looking or suave or 6'8" or some shit, we got to kind of work to put ourselves in a position to do that. So we have some form of value. Now, the flip side to women is they have a short window of, opportunity when it comes to the dating market, basically meaning that they can only get the top tier guys that they so-called want in a certain age range for the most part, like 18 to 25. Then it starts to dry up. And as they get older, they only have, when you really think about it, they come to the table with more than just their looks, but socially wise, they really have their beauty. That's pretty much it. Nobody cares how much a woman makes or how much money she has. Most men don't care about that. Most men, when they think about a beautiful woman, they're not thinking about Oprah or some shit like that. They just don't really care about that. What the cool thing about being a man is, brother, it gets greater later. It really does. 30s, 40s, 50s. Bro, you're going to, especially if you got a passport, man, you're going to be attracting so many young, beautiful women. I mean, it's just like you shouldn't even necessarily, I mean, you're gonna get your heart broken a few times. That's what it is. We all go through that. But for the most part, once you kind of get into your groove, it's like you can't be phased. Even if she divorces you and everything like that, man, fuck all that. Because you can get another one. Look how many times these celebrities have been married. They don't even care at no point. 2-3 times. You go get another one. All right. The main thing you gotta do as a man is just increase your value, bro. Just stay on your grind, stay on your purpose. All right. It gets greater later. That's what you got to take away from that. Okay. Women have a short time span. All right. 30s, they kind of out the game. What they've done in America is they have manipulated society into having a sexual market longer by demonizing men for going after younger women. So in America, for me, if I'm 40 something, I'm dating a 25-year-old, I would be considered to be a sugar daddy. And she can't like me. So I should date women my age because, you know, you're just a sugar daddy. She's just using you for money, as if a woman my age wouldn't use me for money. So that's what I'm saying, man. Like, it gets greater later, fellas. Don't trip on it. I wouldn't even, because when I think about it, I have women from my 20s that still contacted me. And I remember in my 20s, when I saw that girl text message out, my whole day would just light up. I'd be like so happy that, oh man, I can't believe I'm messing with this beautiful woman. And of course, it didn't work out and whatnot. And it's just funny that when you're a man, all those women that were kind of playing games with you and pulling back and doing all this bullshit, they still gonna be there. They still gonna be there, especially if they see you doing good. Even if they married, they still gonna contact you. They still gonna talk to you because you're doing better than the man that they're with currently. So that kind of lets you know that women are generally never really single, even when they're in relationships, bro. Like they still gonna do what they do, and you can't really get mad at them for that because they're just being women. And once you realize that, once you recognize their nature, you won't take it so personal. Because if Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, you know what I'm saying, Eddie Murphy, you know, if these guys can get divorced with all the money and the staff, if they get divorced, man, what you think? What you think this really is out here, bro? How you think women really are collectively for the most part? You can't buy love. So just go through your experiences, brother. Go through your experiences, man. Mr. Javota says, going abroad, you increase your value 10 times off the bat. It's true. That's true. And yes, you see, that's correct. Age gap is accepted overseas. It's weird, man, because, you know, you try, in my cases, I try to date women in their 30s and everything like that, but it be the women in their 20s that they just be choosing harder, or they be really like, because the women younger don't have kids, you know, so they might have more time they can spend with you and everything. And you be like, yo, you know, I'm 40, you know what I'm saying? Like, you 25, you cool with that? They're like, yep, let's go. So yeah, you're right. There's no age gap. Like, they don't care overseas. They don't care. It's the only place they really care really is, I think, America and maybe London or some shit. But outside those countries, man, who the fuck want to go to London anyway? But outside those countries, they don't give a damn. They don't care, bro. I be in DR in the mall, and I be wondering, is that his girlfriend or his daughter? Because they do that a lot out here in DR. Like, you will see an older guy grayed out with holding hands, you know, and you be like, oh, what's going on with that? You're like, oh shit, okay, together. Shout out to him. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, Devin, ain't nobody, bro. Listen, man. Once you realize as a man, I'm telling you, once you really realize that, I'm trying to say this, not be so cold-hearted or sound cold when I say nobody really gives a damn about you, because I don't want you to take that. We know your mama care about you. We know your family care about you and shit like that. But, man, once you realize your love comes with conditions, I mean, and you realize how women kind of are, and you comfortable being alone sometimes, or you comfortable kind of moving the way you move, and you comfortable in your own skin, you don't need any relationship validation necessarily. You kind of free yourself, man. You really do kind of free yourself. And once you free yourself and be yourself, the women going to be banging out your door from the past, from your 20s. I'm telling you, from your 20s, your 30s, all relationships that you had. If you're doing good in life, those women will be at your beck and call, especially if you're overseas. They're going to be sitting there, hey, when can I come to Colombia? When can I come to Brazil to visit you? Aren't you married? Oh, yeah, he'll be okay. I just say it's a girl's trip. I'm telling you, once you realize female nature, you don't necessarily you don't have to lose respect for women, but you just got to know how they are collectively, no matter where they are, man. Older black men have found wives in Brazil and Africa. It's the guy in the Facebook group, family. It's the guy in the Facebook group. He got to be in his 70s, man. Maybe he in his 60s. I don't know. but I think he is in. Where is this guy at? Because he posts pictures of him and his girl. His girl maybe about 30, maybe late 20s, maybe early 30s. So she looks pretty young. He got her by at least 30 years. And they moving and grooving, no issues. I'm not saying that's the norm. I was always told that a woman told me, she was like, as long as you're not old as my dad or don't look as old as my dad, you'll be fine. And a woman told me that. Actually, a Ugandan woman told me that in Thailand, actually. All right. Somebody said like a modern city. I don't know what's going on in this chat today, family. All right. So once again, I'm not going to make this too long of a show, man. I want to keep this one short as a review. All right. Shout out my man, Brandier. I ain't heard from Brandier in a while. Shout out to you, man. And we got a lot coming up soon. I'm going to be interviewing my man, Barber World Zoe, tomorrow, actually. We haven't set a time just yet. I'm going to be interviewing him about Peru. Believe it or not, guys are going to Peru and bringing in some good receipts, man. So we're going to talk about Peru tomorrow. All right. Peace.